Everything. The film opens with Maddie Whittier, Amandla Stenberg, sitting in what she considers her favorite room in the house. It gives her a nice view of the outside, as she enjoys imagining what it would be like to set foot out there, particularly in the ocean. Maddie explains that she has always lived with severe combined immunodeficiency, SID, meaning her antibodies are not able to properly fight off infection. Her mother, Anika Noni Rose, has kept her in the house for most of her life after she was a child and suffered multiple ear infections and cases of pneumonia. Maddie's brother and father also died in a car accident years earlier. Her only friends are her nurse Carla, Ana de la Reguera, and Carla's daughter Rosa, Danube Hermosillo, who are the only other people allowed in the house. Maddie is part of an online support group where she talks to other people with SID. She spends most of her time immersing herself in books and writing reviews on them, as well as watching movies with her mom or building models with an astronaut figure inside. One day, Maddie spots new neighbors moving in next door. She sees Oliver Ollie Bright, Nick Robinson, riding his skateboard down the street. He looks up at Maddie's window and smiles at her. She smiles back. That night, Ollie and his sister Cara, Taylor Hickson, walk over to the Whittier home to give them a bundt cake that their mom made. Dr. Whittier opens the door and politely declines the cake since it's coming from outside. When Ollie asks if Maddie is around, Dr. Whittier firmly states she's not and then shuts the door. Over the next few days, Ollie gets Maddie's attention from their windows. He fools around with bundt cake at first before writing his number down on the window. Maddie starts texting him and then imagines their conversation as though she were sitting in her model diner. They talk about their backgrounds, including Maddie's sickness and the deaths of her father and brother, as well as Maddie's desire to see the ocean. Both Carla and Rosa know that Maddie is into Ollie. While her mother is away, Carla invites Ollie to go to the house, but he must maintain a distance from Maddie so he can't get her sick. The two talk for a while and hang out. Later on, Maddie sees Ollie in a fight with his father. Ollie strikes the first blow before his father hits him back harder. Maddie runs outside with concern toward him. Dr. Whittier sees this and runs after Maddie. She pulls Maddie back into the house after Maddie tries to help Ollie. Dr. Whittier scolds Maddie, and then Maddie starts to throw up in the sink. Her mom puts her to rest and then gently tells her that she can't see Ollie again. Dr. Whittier fires Carla for letting Ollie in the house. She tearfully says goodbye to Maddie. Dr. Whittier hires a new, stricter nurse to care for Maddie. She and Ollie continue to communicate privately. One afternoon, Maddie goes into her favorite room and sees that Ollie taped dozens of pictures of the ocean with a note saying that every ocean deserves to be seen by her. Maddie writes a letter to her mother saying she will be gone. She goes over to Ollie's house and says she bought 2 plane tickets to Hawaii. Ollie tells her to go back home for her safety, but Maddie claims that she's been taking a medication that is keeping her well for now. Convinced, Ollie drives them both to the airport. Dr. Whittier finds Maddie's note. She spots Cara walking down the street and asks her where Maddie and Ollie are, but Cara knows just as little as she does. Maddie and Ollie make it to Hawaii. They drive to a shack they've rented out, and Maddie goes to buy a swimsuit. They go to the ocean, where Maddie swims for the first time. They then try out cliff diving. Maddie has the time of her life. Later that night, Maddie and Ollie make love for the first time. The next day, Maddie gets sick, and she passes out. Ollie takes her to the hospital, and Maddie wakes up back home. Dr. Whittier is not angry because she feels that Maddie has learned her lesson from this experience. Maddie is then forced to cut Ollie out of her life, feeling it is best for both of them to stop seeing each other. Ollie moves back to New York City with his mother and sister to leave his father behind for good. Maddie doesn't get a chance to say goodbye. Later, she receives a phone call from a doctor that treated her in Hawaii. When Maddie mentions she has SID, the doctor suggests that there is no indication of that disease in Maddie's system. Maddie then goes through her mother's files to find anything on SID. When Dr. Whittier gets home, Maddie asks her if she really is sick. Dr. Whittier continues to dodge the question. Maddie runs outside, and her mom only tries to get her to go back without ever answering Maddie. Maddie runs away from her. Maddie goes to see a doctor to confirm that she never had SID. Her immune system is only weak because it hasn't been properly exposed to regular viruses or infections. Angry, Maddie stays with Carla and Rosa. When she finally sees her mom again, Dr. Whittier tearfully admits that she lied to Maddie because she didn't want to lose her the same way she lost her husband and son. Maddie decides to go to New York City to visit Ollie. She suggests that she will eventually forgive her mother. As Maddie hops on the plane, We see Dr. Whittier talking to Carla, presumably to apologize to her. Maddie sends Ollie a message to meet her in a bookstore the following morning. Maddie goes to the bookstore. Sure enough, Ollie is there reading a book. The two reunite and kiss before heading out for an adventure in the city.